Yeah.
See, that's the importance of having people around you, and like what's happening here. When if somebody else is like me, and they were raised and they had these feelings and they had no clue what to do with them, we can direct them and say, well, when you did this, that was kind of you. And that's going to happen. I mean,
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I did stuff that, I can think of a Sunday night service where, up in Saranac Lake, where we had, I had just kind of stepped into prophesying on a bigger scale than on one person. And we must have had maybe 30 people there. And I prophesied over everybody. And Brother Stanley called me into his office the next day. He said, I just want to tell you, you can't prophesy over everybody. You don't have the word of the Lord for everybody. You can't do that. I said, okay. And that, I didn't know.
You didn't know that you couldn't, or you didn't know that he was wrong?
Right.
I didn't know I couldn't.
Okay.
But, I just...
Right.
But you never know.
That's
yeah,
right.
I know.
Right.
I know.
That's right.
But that's where you have to learn. You have to learn the boundaries. And I'm still learning the boundaries of where I am. I know I came from a different place.
Difficulty for me is figuring out, is it me or is it somebody else?
Yes.
And sometimes it's easier than others, but I mean, even the first time we started recognizing that this exists, this ability, I was in the backyard. It was springtime, and the Zellers, Robert and Krista Zeller, they come over to our house to help, and I had these big tarps, big black plastic ground covers that we would put out just before the snow melted, so that it would draw in the sunlight, melt the snow, and soften the ground for the garden way ahead of everybody else. Then we'd roll them up and put them in the barn. And I mean, these are huge. These things covered they're like 30 by 90. I mean, they're just long tarps. And so when you're rolling them up, they collect a lot of air. You roll it, you fold it, you roll it, and you have to kind of push the air out, roll it, push the air out. And so he's helping me do this, and it's you're down on your knees in the slog, pushing air out, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, if I just push a stick in there, it might. And I'm thinking, these things cost hundreds of dollars. I'm not pushing a stick in there. Where am I? And then Bob says, have you ever thought maybe if we just punctured it, we could? It was him thinking that I picked that up, and I began to realize it's not always me. It's not.
Yes.
All these thoughts aren't me. So I began to then ponder. Okay, so if I'm walking through the mall and all of a sudden I'm feeling this overwhelming depression or elation of joy, is it me or is it?
Right. What is it?
Are you happy?
Yeah.
How are you? How do you? So there's this process of even just discerning that. Is it me or is it somebody else? And then there's what do you do with it? God, tell me what I'm doing with this now. And is it for now or for later or things that? So the whole thing is just a continual drive to be closer to the Father, and to be turning to Him every time with these questions.
Yes.
So that as you feel them, and sometimes you get the impression before you get the impression, because God's telling you you're gonna run into this, and then seconds later there it is. So now you already know.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a kind of a growing process, and it defies the ability to explain.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is undeniable. I mean.
Yeah.
So.
And even though you're feeling things, how you process it and how you process it are maybe similar, but they're still unique to you. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, not to consider, I should be hearing like Barry,
right.
or I should be experiencing
See, I went
Rick.
through that.
Right.
Barry.
Right. And I went through that with him.
Oh.
So
I was looking at him like, boy, I wish I could do it like him. And he's saying the same thing about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I see the way he operates.
And the Father's saying, guys, just do it like you.
Yes.
Well, you're not knowing.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Because,
Because you don't know what you're doing, because everything is by faith and everything is by step.
well, there's a hunger to do it right, too.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
seeing the result of this thing.
Yep.
And you're going, okay, that's the right way to do it. I mean, I exasperated myself because I started trying to be somebody else.
Yeah,
Because I looked at them and went, you know, other prophets. Okay, if that's what a prophet looks like, then I need to bend myself towards that. And going through that frustration process too of, and God going, that's them, that's not you. You know, and the negativity it put on me because I'm going, man, they're having visions of things and revelations of things, and God, I'm not even, you know, I'm hardly spitting. How am I ever going to get there?
yeah,
You know, that kind of attitude. So the anxiety and the frustration of and I think we all do that as well. That's what it looks like.
yeah,
Like for you, you like your heart towards Heidi Baker. Well, there's a familiarity, and I've learned that there's a natural attraction in that.
yeah,
And I can say, well, that's in you.
Yeah.
You know, and someday you're gonna have to meet her, because you're gonna have to. There's no doubt about it, because you know they put that in there. I met with one prophet that we were involved with this church, and because I said I want to meet him, so I can get a sense, so I can get.
yeah,
And I walked away from it, and nothing against the man, but I said I don't want to be that kind of, because I felt like he didn't, the relationship thing wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
You understand? Because it's like this intense relationship. What are you talking about, God? And finding it here now in this church, where we can say, stop everything. This person's got an issue right now. Does anybody have something for this person?
yeah.
And to watch the church run up. And then we get to stand there and go, I ain't getting nothing.
You know, the
But they
difficulty in that from a leadership position, and I didn't have any background. I wasn't raised to be a pastor of a church. But my expectation was, okay, you need to be in charge of getting us from A to Z through the worship. And so to stop everything and do something different, I mean, that's inconvenient.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
You know, and I fought that for a long time, and it took Barry and others to get me to realize that that's how God works. It's always inconvenient. He never gives us a word that's oh, let's do that. You know, it's always, you know, when he tells you to check your water tank, were you doing something else? I mean, it's inconvenient. I got to
I'm
stop.
going the other way.
I got to stop what I'm doing to going.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and there's a freedom to being able to live with the inconvenience, to say yes to an inconvenience. It's like the inconvenience is a flag now for me. You know, it's like,
yes,
you know, oh, if this is interrupting something, I think we're for it. You know, let's get up and go outside and pray on the streets.
there you go, yeah,
What the heck?
That's kind of inconvenient. I mean, I just got in here and sat down. It's nice and cool in here. It's hotter than blazes out there. Oh, let's do it.
An inconvenience,
Yeah.
and we don't have a word, nobody's got a word, right? There's a little testimony, like you guys just spoke about a friend, Bubba.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nathaniel, at work, there's these two guys, there's many of these two guys. One guy, his name is Bill. Bill believes he's a homosexual. As a matter of fact, he just recently